I need a nation of workers, not a nation of thinkers. This is a famous quote by the American industrialist John D. Rockefeller. And despite this quote being made almost 150 years ago, it's still very relevant to the society we live in today and a reflection of the way that many people think, why they hate work and why they stay stuck in jobs that don't fulfill them. And in this video, I'm going to talk about why you need to refuse this mantra, this narrative, and how you can break out of it, how you can shift your own mindset. And if you're new to my channel, my name's Ollie. I'm a digital entrepreneur. I used to work in corporate in London, and I've been doing my own thing online for the last few years, and I teach guys to do this as well. So digging into why we have this narrative in the first place, why is it still relevant? At the time that Rockefeller was talking, it was a reflection of what was needed in the economy at that point. It was an industrial society. And in that model, the industrialists needed component parts of labour, aka they needed manpower in the factories. They needed people physically to be there. And as time progressed, there was increased innovation and the need for manpower went down. And that happened more and more throughout the 20th century as we went into modernism and rapidly in recent history. And this is where it's most particularly pressing today, is with the advancement of AI and robotics and the internet, things have really sped up. But unfortunately, society, our education system, much of the older generations, particularly who have the power and the influence, they own the companies, politicians, etc., they still share this very fixed mindset of what work is, how it functions and how it should be. And unfortunately, for a lot of people, there's this idea that work is actually something laborious and unenjoyable. It's just something you have to suck up. And I remember being told this very distinctly when I was about to graduate at uni, and I was going through the graduate identity crisis, which is really normal. You're about to enter the real world and you wonder who you are. And I was chatting to another girl who was about to graduate. Her father was an investment banker. And she was talking about the advice that he'd given her. And his advice was, work just sucks and you have to suck it up. And if you think about how many people actually buy into that, they have this idea that, yeah, work just isn't enjoyable. It's just something you have to do. Why? Why does it have to be that way? So many people, they don't ask that question. Like, think about it. Why would you spend 40 plus years of your life living in a state of disenfranchisement, not enjoying what you're doing, just so that you can survive? Like, why is that the norm? You have to reject that. And that is one of the first steps of going into entrepreneurship, is saying, actually, no, fuck this. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to pursue my own interests and get paid for doing the things that I want to. And the thing with the internet is it allows us to do that. It creates a better opportunity than we've ever had in our existence to do so, because it connects people all around the world, an enormous marketplace. As long as they can understand your language, and if you're an English speaker, think about how many millions, possibly even billions, I don't know the stats, of English speakers there are, but there is a huge market that you can tap into there. And the statistical probability of you connecting with people that actually share your interests and your passions, think about it, out of all those people. I was saying this to a client the other day, someone that I'm working with. He's an author and he wants to build a personal brand around his creative works. And he was saying he doesn't think that anyone would be interested in his work. And we went through a process of thinking about this, saying, are there other people online that are doing what you're doing at the moment? Yes, there are. How many of those do you need to start making a living, to live off your work? Let's say there were 100 and you were selling a monthly subscription or selling your book to those people. How much money could you make, right? The statistical probability of you finding those people online is there. It is extremely high. And this is why the internet allows you to pursue your own interests and make work fulfilling. But to get to that point, you have to first change your attitude towards work. You have to stop seeing work as this chore that is unenjoyable, that you just have to do it. Start seeing work as something from a position of excitement and curiosity, something that you can be fulfilled by. You don't have to buy into this dated narrative that it's unfulfilling and boring, because when you do make that shift, you are more likely to seek the positive opportunities that actually fulfill you in the first place. So that's the first step, right? The second step that I want you to take is you need to stop seeing yourself as one of these component parts in the machine. You need to stop seeing yourself as an employee, as a cog, right? Especially if you come from societies that are hierarchical, right? Where I come from in Britain, very, very class conscious society. There is a very clear hierarchy within companies, within society, and many people, whether they're aware of it or not, they see themselves as inferior to other people, and they hold themselves back as a result of it. And that is particularly prevalent in the workplace. And when they do that, they don't take the risks and opportunities that are more likely to help them progress in life. So you have to reject that and stop seeing yourself as this component part. You have to empower yourself and see yourself as the owner and the entrepreneur. And it might seem delusional at the beginning when you've just started. If you think about it, you see these people who have in their bio, I'm an entrepreneur, and they're not rich, and people will hound them, they'll berate them for it. But that person, if they have shifted their mindset to seeing themselves as an entrepreneur and they stick with it, they are significantly more likely to be an entrepreneur and live their life as an entrepreneur. And even if they are living in a slight delusion, if they're more content in the process of doing it, if they're going out there and they're trying things and they're actually generating money doing things they're interested in, fair play, full credit to them. So stop seeing yourself as this component part in the machine. It is a reflection of an outdated model that we don't live in anymore. And as AI develops even further, we're going to see this even more, right? Whether we end up with things like a universal basic income that then allows people to explore their curiosities, whatever it may be, right? There is going to be less need for these component parts in the machines, the specialized manpower, and there is going to be more opportunity for people to pursue what they're actually interested in. Humans have great potential. Our capacity to reason, to think, to come up with ideas, to build things, to innovate is one of the beauties of what makes human beings what they are. We have massive potential, and so do you, but you have to realize that you're going to have to enact that in your own way. And if you stay within employment, most of the time, there are exceptions, most of the time you are never going to fully release that potential, because you will be working on the pursuits of somebody else and you'll be capped with your incentives, whether that's your wealth creation. You're never going to earn the amount of money that you could if you're employed as you could doing your own thing. And also just the ideas, right? You're conforming to somebody else's thing. If you really want to pursue what you're interested in, you have to pursue your own business model. Now, the last thing that I want to say with this, the biggest obstacle that stands in the way of people being here, stuck in a job that they don't like, and being here doing something they want. And I see this all the time with my clients and with prospective clients. And I'm just going to say this really upfront. Stop fucking delaying. Stop holding yourself back. There will never be a right time. You tell yourself, I need to think about my finances. I need a month to see if I can make this work. I need to move to this place before I start. No, you don't. That is your fear holding you back. That is your lack of decisiveness and action getting in the way, because you're about to make a massive change in your life and it makes you deeply uncomfortable. And that is perfectly normal. I was in that exact same position as well. But if you continue to do that, you will delay further and further and further, and you will not make the progress that you want to. You have to start getting into the habit of taking action, not overthinking. It's one of the most defining characteristics of entrepreneurial people, is that they tend to do things and then find out the result after. And for intelligent people, for analytical people, this terrifies them, because it is the polar opposite of every logical thought that they have and their process of thinking about things. And I can tell you this as somebody who is extremely over analytical in the way I look at things. But you can get past that. You have to condition yourself. So stop delaying. Stop telling yourself you need to have this amount of money before you take action, that you need to know this amount of knowledge about your area. There is a minimum level of things that you need to know, and you are far better just taking that action and getting started. That is when you're going to see real progress. And if you've related to the advice in this video, this is exactly the kind of stuff that I go over with my clients in my one-to-one mentorship. If you want to learn more about that, feel free to reach out below. Instagram link is below, or you can just directly book in a call. What I will say, if you are going to go straight for the call, is don't do it impulsively after watching this video. Go through my content, make sure that you understand what I do, what I help people with, rather than it being this knee jerk. And only if you are willing to commit and get started to make a change in your life, like the 20+ guys have that I've worked with so far. And I will see you in the next video.